Hello everyone and welcome back to the Bat Chat. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm DanzNewz.
And it's time for the second part of Batgirl's Reckoning.
Oh yeah, we get to see the end finally. What will happen? She's all suited up. She's just been standing there for a week.
Yeah, I think she probably has like really stiff legs and she's just not going to be able to do anything. She's not going to be able to fight anything. She's going to have to just like go sit down for a minute. This episode should be called Batgirl Sits Down for a Minute.
But she's going to have glutes of steel.
Right. Yeah, she won't have to...
standing up there.
Yeah, she'll still have to go to the gym for upper body, but she won't have to do anything with her calves or anything.
Yeah, she's set. Leg day's done.
Anyway, so we're going to talk about the second part of Shadow of the Bat today while we're watching it. If you want to watch the show with us, make sure you are looking at the second episode of Season 3, because if you're watching any other episode, this is going to line up strangely and will be a very interesting experience. But, you know, it's up to you. It's a free country. You guys can do whatever you want to. And even if you're listening to this in some other country, you can still do whatever you want to with
in a country where it isn't free. I'm sorry that you don't live in a free country.
Sorry about that, but I kind of don't think wherever you are, they're going to care whether or not you're listening to you're watching the right episode. This is really derailing. Anyway, so pull that up on your Amazon Prime or your DVD, however you want to watch it. Get it to timestamp 0 and get ready to press play whenever I say now. If you don't want to watch it with us, or you're mowing your lawn or driving your car or an ice cream truck or something, we will provide as much context as possible so that you can listen to this without the video. Are you ready, Mr. Dan?
I'm ready. I just like how you were putting the viewer in so many different places right then.
Yeah,
it's pretty great.
I go for vivid imagery.
Very descriptive. I like
Everybody, let's go ahead and get right into it. Here we go. More Batgirl action. Everybody, please press play right now.
Oh yeah.
I was watching this earlier with my 2-year-old Freddie, and he and Jason have been watching a ton of Looney Tunes cartoons. And he goes,
the best.
"Oh man, it's Bugs Bunny!" And then he wasn't nearly as excited when Batman showed up because there was no more Bugs Bunny. No, he loves these shows. Freddie's gotten on a Superman kick.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Must be the colors.
Yeah, it must be. He loves that show.
I mean, both shows are pretty colorful, but yeah, definitely a darker color palette for Batman. Man, I remember back when you were just running around without any kids, Logan. Mr. Logan.
You remember that? Yeah, I barely remember that.
I remember when Jason was born. It's like, this feels like a million years ago.
I remember when Sarah was like 10 months pregnant. We were she was getting ready to deliver at any moment. We were doing a Batman panel, a Batman movie panel on Eric's channel, and King brings up the notion that maybe Sarah will deliver while we're in the middle of recording a video. Just look at the teeth on that guy.
I know, he's nothing but trouble.
He's goofy looking. If Bruce Timm did that guy now, he would totally be like biting into people, and he'd be using those teeth.
But Gil looks like that on the inside.
He's got buck teeth on the inside. On the
inside.
I don't know what that means, but I'm going to start using it. That man has buck teeth on the inside.
He has buck teeth on the inside.
Sometimes I want to make signs that I see in shows and put them in places completely out of context. Like, I think it would be really funny to just put up a sign that says, "Jim Gordon deserves bail."
Yeah. The business meeting. What business meeting? You're not in business.
We got some business. Yeah, that guy's thinking on his feet. He had improv lessons.
Good old Bucktooth Billy.
What is he, on eBay?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
did you see? So on that zoom in right there, I did notice it when we were watching the episode before. On that zoom in, one of the animation cells, like one of the clear cells, because they were doing like a motion parallax thing with the zoom in, and you could see just like this little speck also move throughout the frame on the push in.
Oh, weird.
Sometimes like that stuff that happens like that though, like we saw earlier, like a hair gets caught in the cell or something like that, or whatever it is.
You know, if your house was up on a hill that high, you would also buy your own airplane.
And develop everything. Super weaponry.
It makes me wonder why Batman uses the Batmobile as often as he does, because even with that car, it looks like it would take like 30 minutes to get into the city.
I just think Bruce is a man of all contingencies. It really seems like as time has gone on, that seems to be what like they've kind of put Batman into. Like this, like he's just this dude who is ready for no matter what, land, sea, air, whatever. He's got it.
You just did verbatim that speech at the end of Forever.
What?
Land, sea, or air.
Well, land, sea, or air is a common, phrasing of those.
I know, but I just, I got transported.
Earth, wind, and fire.
Earth, water, fire.
You sink my battleship.
He should have that tunnel system that he has in Batman Forever, though, because I feel like that's the only way you would get anywhere fast enough.
Yeah. From
where he lives. Meanwhile, on the 715th floor
of whatever building they're on,
I think it'd be really funny. It'd be really funny if Robin had a moment where he was like, "I think this is the same girl." It's the hair that gives it away.
Yeah, really. I wouldn't have been surprised like he was. You again? He'd just be like, "Oh, yeah." The hair.
When she's like, don't flatter yourself, or you're being kind of presumptuous or whatever, I'm totally with her on that. He's like, this could be fun. She's like, hey,
yeah.
Like, where's your head at?
Yeah, really. Do you often use your position to overpower women?
If you're looking at Robin and you don't know Dick Grayson, he could be 16 or he could be 20.
Yeah.
Like, there's no telling if he's a kid or an adult, really.
Well, when I watched this show as a kid, I more so thought of him as a kid. But then the movies came out, like, Forever came out, where it was an older Robin.
Right, they have, like, a 35-year-old Robin.
Yeah, and so, like, I kind of... that's why I always kind of connected with the cartoon more, because I felt like he was more... he looks like he could be in his mid-teens or something like that.
And then you get to season 4, and it's like Robin's your kid brother.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's weird because she still has that lipstick, but it's not quite as prominent, and it fits that look better. Like, she doesn't look silly like she did in the regular Batman suit. Or maybe it's just because I'm used to seeing the regular Batman suit without lipstick.
Well, they bring a lot more blue into hers. A lot more blue and kind of a darker gray, so it kind of balances a bit better with it than having all that dark with, like, really, like, sticking out lipstick. This definitely... The color scheme is a lot more complimentary on her outfit, and I would have even gone with doing blue for the cape and cowl and gray, like a deep gray for the suit. But it really works well together, and they're just really great at color schemes.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising where it looks more lighthearted. It's brighter. It goes better with her personality, but it's still kind of.
But then you have
that silhouette's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Then you have a silhouette like that. So that's what I keep talking about. This show is like the color schemes are so great because you have this straight suit, but then you have these shots of like shadows and all that other stuff where they play with white so well, and they just pick like 2 or 3 basic colors like white, black, or blue, and just do some really great silhouettes.
Because I love the purple, but I don't know if it would have quite fit the color scheme of the show.
Yeah.
I'll go on record to say the 60s Batman suit, or Batgirl suit, is still my favorite.
It's really great, and it's so ostentatious for a superhero outfit.
Yeah, well, it's glittery too.
Yeah, I know, it shines. It literally shines. Like you can't do that if you're like legitimately doing that. But for the '60s show, it works perfectly.
Yeah, it's great, and Yvonne Craig was gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
and so she pulled that off so well. It just looked great. We were talking about this on Primetime Crisis, or excuse me, on How We Felt About last week, but it's really a shame that we're not going to get a third Adam West cartoon movie for obvious reasons, and because I imagine they might have gone for Batgirl in that because it's the third one. Yeah,
that's true. Keeping up with the trends.
But it's sad because you would have had to recast Yvonne Craig because she passed away recently.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea of the... I still haven't seen the Two-Face movie, but I like the idea of Shatner coming in.
It's wonderful. Yeah, he does a great job.
Performance.
You know, it's weird. Two-Face doesn't show up a ton in this show.
It's not too often. But I think when he does, they usually use him pretty well.
Yeah, there's almost kind of some gravitas when he shows up where, like, it's a big deal. Oh man, it's Two-Face. What's he going to do? And we use Penguin too much in this show, and they didn't have really a take on him.
Yeah, that's true.
And their Two-Face is wonderful. I kind of wish they'd used him more often.
Oh, he's so great. Well, that's going back and watching the initial Origins. I'm bummed out they don't really do too much of the. Well, I guess with the Nolan movie, so much like there wasn't the dual personality side so much. It was more so, or less of. I feel like because like the animated series was a bit more overt with him talking with himself.
Oh
and
yeah,
battling
absolutely.
with himself that way and.
No, they had a totally different take on it with the Nolan movies, but I also like that because that's a totally different kind of Batman. Even like he needs to reinvent those characters.
It's a Two-Face that makes sense, but like I feel like with the Nolanization of Batman, we lose a little bit of some of the characters that like. I mean, sometimes you just want to watch the characters and be like, I know and love this character, and they're doing exactly what I like. That's why a lot of people didn't like Batman v Superman. Yeah. I feel because that was just a step outside of the characters a fair bit, or the characterization that most people are used to. But I just want to get
that, and those people don't act like real people.
Yeah, that's true. I feel no matter what, it's the cartoon's always a good palate cleanser, just because it's like, oh yeah, this is like the purest form of this character that I love. Like,
that's exactly right. Yeah, it's classic. It's kind of the foundation.
Yeah.
It's sort of. I mean, it feels that way anyway. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different takes on Two-Face, and
definitely.
Like he's not always a split personality. He's not always like multiple personalities.
Yeah.
But
and I love the different
most classic version. I think we do tend to do that more often than not.
Yeah. It's the animated series is my baseline for Batman.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mine too. For most things with Batman. Yeah. I mean, again, it doesn't work with every character, because, like, that's, I feel like this sounds funny, but my baseline for Penguin is 60s before it's this show.
Yeah.
And also, kind of like the 90s, like gangster version in the comics, the kind of, faux.
Yeah, like the Arkham Asylum kind of,
and
he's always.
Well, not even Arkham Asylum so much. More No Man's Land. Because he's not so much of a faux sophisticate in the Arkham games. He's a little bit more crass and grimy there. It's almost like a mix of Batman Returns with like 90s comics.
Yeah.
I like that version too. He's horrifying.
And this is the episode Robin dies.
Yes. Spoiler alert, he's dead.
It's the one where he drowns, and Batgirl becomes the new Robin.
Yeah, well, you seem to have forgotten the giant clam. Oh, this is not the one with the giant clam. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, they had a instance of showing her usefulness to the team.
Yeah.
And Robin seems to think he's got it all figured out half the time. I like that he's kind of fumbling up a little bit.
Yeah, and some of that because he's trying to impress her. Like he's not at his full form right now because he's distracted by her.
He's like, oh, this could be fun.
Water is hard in animation.
Yeah.
It's difficult in cel shaded animation to not make water look like Kool-Aid. It looks like it's got some kind of food coloring in it, where when it comes off of people, it's like, oh, don't drink that water.
Yeah, it's tough to do, like, show motion and just anything. There's a lot of things that are really tough to kind of convey through animation.
I like that she is immediately thrown into the thick with them, and they don't have a big long period where and I mean, like, Batman's not immediately sure of her and stuff, and I can see the argument that by the end he's too okay with her, but I like that there's not like a long period of mystery of like, oh, who is she and is she on our side, and they don't force any drama out of it, and they don't make a gimmick out of it. It's just it's very clear to them immediately that her heart's in the right place, because it should be everything she's doing is obviously the right thing and for the right reasons. And she's a lot like them in the sense that she feels the need to take the law in her own hands because the actual law can't do enough. But she's not like them in that she doesn't have that tragic backstory. So she's a lot more of a pure adventure hero, and that's what I like about Shirley Walker's musical theme for her. It's not her best theme. I'm actually not in love with it, but what I do like about it is that it sounds like adventure serials.
Yeah. Definitely. They showed Bullock eating a piece of pizza earlier, and this is one of my problems with animated pizza. Sometimes they make the cheese look like water, or like it's super like soupy. Like they try to make it look so cheesy that it looks like it's just melting, like dripping off the pizza.
Is it as hard or harder than water?
I don't know. That's the thing. Apparently, it's pretty hard. It's as hard as the elements. But this show gets elements so right. Like, I mean, it gets fire and smoke, and like it gets a lot of the elements really right. And even water is pretty good.
I mean, to
like,
be fair, they have the way it flows looks real natural. It's just it's just the color and texture.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've had a lot more practice with fire and smoke than with pizza. They blow things up in
unless we got some
episode.
Turtles animators on this show.
Right, they bring that guy in for that one scene. And
he's like, I heard your specialty is pizza.
It looked
he's
like
the pizza
egg
animator.
Before it looked like cheese.
Yeah.
And Bullock does not like egg on his face. All of yous.
All of yous. I'm going to grab your microphone and whip it around. I mean, this guy is really in distress by this phone call.
He's just losing it.
In danger. Man, what is with that guy? He's fidgeting. He's like drinking his coffee. He's pulling his neck collar.
He clearly has had way too much caffeine today.
Yeah. It's like, this is my 4th espresso.
At this point, he's just injecting it into his veins.
Lady, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know why, but every time Batman swims, I expect sharks in the show. Just every time.
In the abandoned subway, there's sharks.
Yes.
Dun dun. I mean anywhere, anything. Croc should show up with some shark sidekicks. A swimming version of Captain Clown. You killed Captain Clown. I never really read too many of the comic books, but like Crocs, like my Crocs. Well, Crocs are the worst, but Killer Croc. I always liked his portrayal on the show. Later in the show and earlier as well.
Yeah.
But in the comics, was he always kind of large and reptile-y like Arkham, or is that kind of the first iteration like that? Or
it varies. It goes back and forth. Sometimes he's just a guy with a skin condition, and sometimes he's a giant reptile man. And even in Nightfall, which I'm working on for Batcap, the 48-Hour Halloween right now, quick plug, the sequel to Spawn here, he changes in that. Like, he's never a giant reptile man, but, like, he looks scaly and reptilian later, but the first time you see him, he just looks like a man with a skin condition. So, like, it varies. It jumps around. I think Arkham is the biggest I ever saw him.
Yeah, he's pretty big in there. And even in Arkham Knight, he gets even bigger. Like, he's pretty big.
We were clearly kind of looking at that a little bit when we did Suicide Squad.
Yeah. He seemed more or less skin condition, more
reptile
mutant reptile man.
Yeah, he should have come from a Star Trek planet where everybody just looks like that.
And Gil's looking out for Gil. Gil is sick.
Look at the henchman on the left of Two-Face. Like that guy came out of a Popeye cartoon.
I gotta hope they cut back to him.
Yeah, because he does not belong in this show.
Is it just people with glasses in this show, or is it just Gordon who doesn't have the whites of his eyes, and he's literally just pupils?
Oh, and then the guy that I was talking about completely changed model, I think.
Oh, really? Yeah, some people are just pupils, it seems.
Yeah, it seems so.
I never caught that. I never really caught that too often. Some of them have real eyes, some of them don't. That's strange. I mean, he still has the lines, but it's like
look at that guy. Look at
him.
him with the guy with the eye closed. And they Two-Face
He's happy to be there.
Totally grabbing other people's henchmen, right? Like that guy was a Penguin henchman at some time.
Definitely.
He went to the henchman auction.
I think both episodes had pretty overt displays of the shadow of the bat, literally. Because I think the beginning of the first episode and then this episode kind of both had shadow moments where the silhouette of Batman was kind of projected down onto people in the shadow.
That's a good point. I'm not sure how well that title
Bucktooth
fits
Billy.
The story. Like I kind of get.
Yeah,
what
it thematically doesn't so much line up with what's going on.
Because it's not really about Batgirl being in Batman's shadow so much.
Yeah,
I mean, it kind of is in the sense that like she pretends to be him for a minute, but I mean she really kind of
that's not what it's about.
On her own, and yeah, it's not really about that.
It does give her the inspiration to redo it up, like, you know, actually do it for real.
That's true,
but the action is just to save her father. It's not to, you know, look, because she looks up to the bat. She's just using that.
Yeah, exactly. Like you'd think the story would be about how she and this is what it's been in other things, that she like really looks up to Batman and wants to be like him, and he's like a role model. I don't know that it's that so much with her, especially because I think this is interesting. I like this, that she has to become Batgirl because she needs Batman's help and he won't help her. I do wish there was a discussion about that later.
Oh, this is where the origin of the big penny.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it is, because we've already had that. I think it's just another giant penny. Yeah, I guess. But remember, the origin of the giant penny is in Almost Got Him.
Yeah. That's I was watching that with fans recently, and they were pointing it out to me that was where it came from. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Much Batman silhouette in this episode.
That's a lot of episodes had Batman
But I like
silhouette.
that because I keep talking about how shadowy this episode is, and it's kind of cool that it's this dark and they keep putting Batman in shadow.
Oh yeah.
And then he should be like, "Oh, I don't recognize you at all." No,
I didn't know it was you.
He knows.
It wouldn't have.
So I really need Jim Gordon earlier, that big smile on his face, to have been because he recognizes her and won't say it, because even with the conceit of people wear costumes in this universe, and even if you know them really well, you can't tell who they are, I don't buy it with her. Like I don't buy that he wouldn't immediately know that's who that is.
Oh yeah, hair and everything.
You get a sense by season 4 that he knows her secret and is okay with it, but I want him to know it from the very beginning.
The statue of Gothardy.
Look at that shield.
But yeah, no, I'm with you.
The Statue of Liberty is out for herself.
You know what? It's actually not that fun being behind bars. I think I'm gonna be a bit more light about how I treat people in the future. I've just been throwing them in there.
If anyone is looking at Barbara Gordon right now, this very moment, they'd be like, you know, I think maybe that's Batgirl. Because she's, like, staring off into space.
And she chimes in, too. And I wouldn't be at
rolling.
all surprised. She's not anywhere near him either. Like, she was just kind of...
She has Vicky Vale's last line from 89.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's Vicky Vale's last line at the end of 89. Slightly varied.
Interesting little reference there.
Yeah, I don't think it is a reference, but it's just that's weird. Anyway, you know, I liked that episode better than I remembered from when I was a kid. I remember thinking it was too long and didn't need to be 2 episodes, but I don't feel that way about it watching it again.
It doesn't. I mean, I don't know if it needs to be 2 episodes. I feel like there is a little bit of plot thinning / whatever to kind of like extra action scenes to kind of fill the time. But it's still, I mean, it's a great. Again, it's 40 minutes. That's the thing about the show is, like, with 20 minutes, or 20 to 22 minutes, you can really tell a really quick, concise story. You do have to sacrifice a lot for that. So in order to tell this story, I'm sure it seems like they had maybe like half an hour worth of content, but didn't want to cut any of that content, so they kind of thinned it out a little bit more with action. I mean, it might have been conceived as a 2-parter, but it seems like they kind of had everything they needed to do within. Yeah, like it is served well, but I think there's a little bit of thinning going on. But it's not bad thinning. I think it's the action and everything serves it pretty well.
I'm with you. I get the sense that maybe it's stretched into 2 parts because they want the first part to breathe more, but then they do have to pad out the second part because the first part feels paced like a standard episode of the series, and does get a lot done. But then you get to that second, like they would have to sacrifice that opening scene where you're not sure if it's Batman or Batgirl, for instance, and I'm kind of glad we have that. So, so like I think it's probably good that it's 2 episodes, but if either of them is padded, it's that second part, and it kind of by the end, like it's more of a criminal intrigue story in the first part, and the second part it turns into 1940s adventure serial again.
Yeah, well, that's I was talking about this a couple episodes of Bat Chat ago, but like it reminds me a lot of Indiana Jones, just with some of the action and some of the serialized stuff.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
far as inspiration goes.
Well, and of course, Indiana Jones is going back to those adventure serials.
Yeah. So it's just a big cyclical like inspiration of that kind of storytelling slash adventure slash just the vibe of the show in general.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that we hang on to Fleischer this long.
Yes.
That, like, we haven't lost that yet.
Yeah,
but
well, it is lost.
We will by 4. But,
yeah, it is lost at some point. But that's one of the things.
But that's
I liked
not
about
losing
the show.
it. That's a new concept. That's conceptualizing it differently. Yeah,
they do reconceive it all, but it is for the most part the same spirit. It's just obviously different.
Yeah, but we'll get to that when we get to that season.
Indeed.
That's going to be interesting. There's some great episodes in that, but it's not the aesthetic I want, but it's got some great episodes. So I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely.
So anyway, next time we're going to be doing obviously the 3rd episode of season 3 because that's how numbers work, and we're going to be talking about Blind as a Bat, which is hilarious in its way, and I'm kind of looking forward to that. So anyway, come back and watch Blind Batman.
I do it.
And we will see you then. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm DanzNewz.
See you, folks.
Bye.